Well, let's talk a little bit of recruiting. We're gonna open it up with this. Jose,
Okay.
I see you always type my name Jordan. I assume it's a bit that you're doing on purpose, but I just want to say I have noticed it. But to answer this question, if I was asked a couple weeks ago, I'd probably say OU. Nothing has really changed in the recruitment much since then. But now, as we sit on July 12th, probably about a month out from the decision, I gotta lean Texas. I always talk about it when Texas has these top level targets, they don't miss on them. Obviously, that's not the same because they missed on Decorian more now. But because of that, I think it not having Decorian more in the class could make their pitch a little bit more aggressive for Mr. Fasusi, if you get what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
And also, like, they have the whole O-line class recruiting them now. They filled in every other spot on the O-line. They just need a big time, prime time left tackle, and that's what Michael Fasusi is. So, that being said, I have to lean Texas, but by no means am I confident in it. I currently have a crystal ball in for Texas that I put in, I think in May, sometime in the spring. And again, I do lean Texas, but I don't feel nearly as good as I did earlier in the year, earlier in the recruitment. Texas was the leader in this one for the majority of the early stages of the recruitment. I'd say the middle stages of the recruitment, really up until I think official visits happened, it kind of opened up his eyes more. But I wrote about this heading into the Texas official visit. Oklahoma, yes, they did gain a lot of momentum, especially on that OV in the week leading into the Texas OV that was the last visit taken the 21st to the 23rd. Oklahoma did gain a lot of momentum, but Texas was a leader for a reason. They're the leader for a long time for a reason. So I anticipated Texas kind of balancing out a little bit of the Sooners' momentum on the Texas OV. I do think that's happened. I think it's going to be one of those two schools. I expect A&M to be the third school in the top three graphic today, but I'd be surprised if Fasusi ends up at A&M. This is a Red River battle. It has been kind of since the jump, and then A&M got involved a little bit in the spring, but now it's kind of gone back to what it originally was. And with that being said, again, to answer your question, I'm slightly leaning towards Texas, but this is going to be a really close one. I mean, it makes sense. There are a few kids I felt better about looking at them and being like, that is a first-round draft pick than Michael Fasusi. He checks every single box, like literally every single box. And also, he turns 17 today and will be a senior. And I've said it before, Dia Bell is like 2 to 3 months older than Michael Fasusi. So, but interested to hear your take. I don't know if you got anything new, Collin. We haven't really chopped it up about Fasusi much of at all lately. So interested if you have anything new.
Yeah, no, definitely some stuff that we can catch up on here on and off the record. But part of that, I would say, is I actually got to hang out with Mike the other day. They were in the area getting some stuff done. I got a phone call from Mike and a few of his teammates at Lewisville. They were at the field. They asked if I could stop by, just kick it, and we caught up a little bit. And just talking to Mike off the record, more so, mano a mano than an actual recruiting interview. One thing that I've tried to express to our subscribers is the concept of a true middle ground in recruiting. And I think anyone right now that wants to tell you that there is a firm identified leader at this time just is making stuff up. Yeah. But that's, again, where we sit currently. Sometimes these kids don't have a lean one way or another. What I would add to this is we're going to get that announcement today, right? And we're expecting it to be Oklahoma, Texas, Texas A&M in a top three graphic, but then potentially he's going to finalize a decision timeline. Why I mention that, we think it's not only early August. I'm not ruling out the possibility of him trying to get something scheduled as far as an unofficial visit in late July when the dead period opens up. Now, I'm not saying that's happening. I'm just saying the read that I kind of get, not just talking to Mike and some people around him, but also some folks in the recruiting scene, there is probably going to be a push not only from maybe Oklahoma and Texas, but honestly, like Oregon and A&M might try and get him booked before his potential decision in August. I think Mike is open to that concept, but we've also seen Mike's visit timeline get a little bit fluid over the course of this recruitment. So I think that's one thing to monitor. This could legitimately be one that we gain a lot of clarity from beginning today through the 1st of August. And so I think that's number one. Number two, let's just call it what it is. The NIL front is going to play a huge role here. A lot of these players in Texas, including Michael Fasusi, they all are asking about the Decorian Moore deal. I'm just going to put it like that. And, you know, I don't say that because, okay, Decorian set the market or whatever. But like you talked about with Khalik and Jamie French whenever we did the show on Monday, like word gets around, right? And even if it's not at that specific institution, it does in a way sort of recalibrate an expectation for these guys. And so if you're talking about, again, I mean, seeing him in person the other day, Michael is a freak of nature at about 16 years old.
17
this
today.
Guy, yeah, exactly. Like this guy's going to command top dollar. So how the next few weeks go as Oklahoma begins its whole in-house NIL operative and Texas, the one fund, its ability to execute at a high level. We know the reputation on that front. How that goes over the next few weeks, in my opinion, is definitely going to shape this thing. And the last thing I'll say, you know, I think Oklahoma did a lot over the last few weeks. I think objectively, he may have enjoyed his Oklahoma visit a little bit more. I think the family really bought into the Oklahoma trip and the trust that they put in that coaching staff. I just feel like the relational aspect for Oklahoma really built up. They land Sean Hutton, right, who's now recruiting him every day as his best friend. But why I mentioned that was all a momentum pickup over a few months span. Texas has long been a primary presence here. And so I think where we're at currently is you've had Oklahoma kind of pull up neck and neck in a way. But as we know in those movies about horse races or whatever the hell, sometimes it's one horse meets and makes it interesting, and then someone pulls out at the end who's always kind of at the forefront of this thing. And my gut tells me that could be the case here. Part of it's maybe the pessimism that I sometimes bring to the table in recruiting. But I need to see Oklahoma kind of get over the hump here and beat Texas in this recruitment, one that so many have perceived to be in the Longhorns' favor for several months. But it is definitely something that could happen. It's just, I think, something that we're going to get more clarity on over the next few weeks.
Yeah. And one thing I didn't mention earlier when I was kind of talking about my read on the Fasusi thing, Texas has never lost confidence in this one. They still feel good about it. They still have optimism about it. And, you know, obviously things can always change between now and when a decision is made. But, you know, Texas does feel good about it as things currently stand.